From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 20th, 2019. The White House announced today that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington next week. Spokeswoman Sarah Sanders said the two will have a working meeting on Monday to discuss their country's shared interests and actions in the Middle East, and then hold a dinner on Tuesday night. Netanyahu was scheduled to be in our nation's capital for the AIPAC National Policy Conference, which begins on Sunday, which he is scheduled to address. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in Israel this afternoon, part of his Middle East tour to promote a united front against Iranian aggression. Pompeo began the tour yesterday in Kuwait. He met with Netanyahu in Jerusalem this evening. Pompeo told reporters on the flight from the U.S. that he would meet with leaders in the region to discuss strategic dialogue and the need to combat the threat posed by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Pompeo will also take part in a trilateral summit between the leaders of Israel, Greece, and Cyprus about a planned natural gas pipeline before heading to Lebanon. While the Palestinian terrorist who murdered an IDF soldier and a rabbi this past Sunday in the West Bank was found and killed in a shootout with IDF forces last night. Israeli forces had been searching for 19-year-old Omar Abu Layla after he stabbed and killed 19-year-old Staff Sergeant Gal Kaidan, who was guarding the Ariel Junction. He then stole the soldier's weapon and shot at several vehicles, including that of Rabbi Achiad Ettinger, who was able to return fire but was critically injured and later died of his wounds. Another IDF soldier was also shot at and is recuperating. Abu Layla was found in a joint operation of the IDF with Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, and the Yamam Special Police Unit. They used special technology to locate and identify the terrorist, surrounded the structure he was hiding in, and called for him to surrender. But the terrorist opened fire on the Israeli forces, who returned fire, killing him. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu lauded the operation and said Israel's long arm can reach anyone who tries to harm its citizens. Also in the West Bank last night, explosives were thrown at Israeli soldiers in Nablus. The soldiers were guarding Jewish worshippers at Joseph's tomb. When two Palestinians threw the devices from their vehicle, the soldiers fired towards the vehicle, killing the driver and his passenger. An announcement from infamous Holocaust denier David Irving is causing outrage. The UK Jewish News reported that Irving plans on leading a tour of Nazi death camps in Poland this fall. The tour brochure called Irving a Hitler expert and called the camps controversial. If you recall, Holocaust historian Professor Deborah Lipstadt famously won a libel case brought against her by Irving in 1996. Israel's Minister of Diaspora Affairs Naftali Bennett wrote to Poland's ambassador to Israel, Marek Magorowski, calling on Poland to refuse entry to Irving and his group. Bennett wrote, given Irving's record of abhorrent statements and outright lies about the history of the Holocaust, it is quite clear that he intends to use this opportunity to spread further falsehoods and vitriolic narrative. Chief Executive of the Holocaust Educational Trust, Karen Pollack, said Holocaust denial is simply anti-Semitism dressed up as academic debate. She said she would work with other groups across Europe to determine how to keep Irving away. The Auschwitz Memorial Museum said deniers' presence at sites of genocide insults memory of the victims. They said, "We hope the visit won't happen." Israeli and Palestinian firefighters worked side by side yesterday, part of a joint rescue exercise in the West Bank. Israeli defense official there, Lieutenant Colonel Salim Saad, stressed that the exercises improved the knowledge and fitness of the Israeli and Palestinian firefighters. He said, "We will continue to train these firefighters with the goal of saving lives across the region." Well, Israel dropped a few places, but still kept a fairly high ranking when it comes to happiness. The World Happiness Report, which is produced by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, ranks 156 countries by how happy their citizens see themselves. Finland took the top ranking. Israel came in at number 13, the U.S. at 19. And Purim celebrations are taking place across the Jewish world with traditional sending of mishloach manot, baskets and plates of Purim sweets like hamantashen, as well as the tradition of giving to the poor. In that vein, Jewish and Muslim students at Bar Ilan University in Ramat Gan prepared gift packages for Arab and Jewish families in need. The students are part of the university's course on Jewish-Arab interreligious dialogue. And of course, children and adults are dressing up in costumes for Purim, including U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, who joined some of his colleagues in the holidays' fun in a video released by the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem yesterday.
Where are you going?
I'm going to pick up Secretary Pompeo. Very excited. Hamantashen. I love hamantashen. Great. It tasted better. Okay.
And some Purim-related programming for you tonight on JBS for Wednesday, March the 20th. At 7 o'clock, it's a look at what the Talmud says about the holiday. At 7:30, the late Jewish actor Gene Wilder engages in a candid conversation with Wendy Wasserstein about his life and work. At 8:14 tonight, it's a look at the films of Mel Brooks from the 92nd Street Y. At 9:14, Mark Golub sits down with veteran comic actor Jackie Mason on L'chaim, and at 10:02, it's a discussion of the kvetch, complaining its influence on Jewish humor. And coming up right after this newscast, it's a Purim celebration. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 20th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader. Happy Purim. Chag Sameach.